Hey guys, today you are working on section 3-2, which is solving equations using addition and subtraction. So I know you've done solving equations before. I don't think it'll take long to refresh your memory. So what you do when you're solving an equation is you look at what is happening to the variable and you do the opposite. So I see that subtraction is happening with my variable, so I'm going to do the opposite of subtraction. I'm going to add 4. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other, because we always need to keep equations balanced. So now what happens is my 2 4's on this side cancel out, and I'm just left with t, which is what I wanted. And then on the other side, I'm just going to add -7 plus 4. The signs are different, so I subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3, but the answer takes the sign of the bigger number, which is 7 and negative. So t equals -3. Now, if I wanted to check my work, I could just plug that -3 back in where the t is and see if I get the two sides equal. So let's do that real quick. I got -3 minus 4 equals -7. So I just replaced that t with my -3. And -3 minus 4, signs are the same, so I add. 3 plus 4 is 7, and the answer keeps the sign, which is negative. Does -7 equal -7? Yes, it does. So those two are equal, and that equation is correct. And that's it. All right. We're not going to check all of them. I just want to show you how to do that in case you want to check and make sure your work is right. So again, we're going to look at what's happening to the variable, and we're going to do the opposite. So I see that 19 is being added to p, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is subtract 19. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. My 19's cancel out, so I'm just left with p equals, and then I have 6 minus 19, which is -13. And if you need to use your calculator, that's totally fine. All right, let's keep going. So again, look at what's happening to the variable. I see a 15 there. This one's a little tricky because it's written differently. Look in front of the 15. What sign is there? That is +15, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is subtract 15. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other. So I'm left with r on this side, and then 71 minus 15 is 56. And that's it. Okay, let's keep going. So now look at what's happening to the variable, and you're going to do the opposite. Trying to pick a color. Okay, so I see that 67 is being subtracted, so I am going to add 67. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Those are going to cancel out. And 104 plus 67 is going to be 171. All right. Let's look at what's happening to the variable. I see decimals, but that's okay. Don't panic because we solve it just the same way that we solve whole numbers. So I see a minus 0.78. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to add 0.78. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And I'm just going to add these real quick. 3.43. And you should get the same thing on your calculator if you're using a calculator. All right, last one. Look at what's happening to the variable and do the opposite. Don't panic because of the fraction. Fractions are our friends, okay? So it's a positive 2/3, so I'm going to subtract 2/3. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So those cancel each other out. I get 0 plus w, which is just w, equals. And now I have two fractions, so I'm going to write them side by side so I can look at them better, okay? Now, I have to do a couple things in order to get these fractions to combine. And I just realized that my camera is in the way, so let me move my little picture right there. Okay. So first I need to change this improper fraction to, or this mixed number to an improper fraction. So remember, we do that by multiplying and then adding. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring my other fraction down. Now, these fractions look very similar, but they are not. You cannot add these two numbers because they don't have the same denominator. When you're adding and subtracting fractions, they have to have the same denominator. So you can get a common denominator and solve it that way. Or you can divide the fractions out on your calculator and turn them into decimals and solve it that way. Now, I personally think that way is a little bit easier than finding common denominators, but you can do whichever way you want. I'm going to show you both, okay? So, first let's divide it out and make them decimals. So remember, fraction means divide. So I can take these fractions and say 3 divided by 2, which is 1.5. And then I can take the other fraction, which is 2 divided by 3. Let's see if I can find my calculator real quick. 2 divided by 3. 0.66666, repeating. So I'm going to say it's 0.7 for that one, okay? Hey, my note disappeared. Okay. Minus 0.7. And then I just add those two numbers together or subtract. So 1.5 minus 0.7. And I get 0.8. So W equals 0.8. That's one way to do it. Let me show you the other way now if we were to find common denominators. So give me a second, I'm going to erase some of this stuff on the screen. Okay, so I just erased a bunch of stuff and wrote the problem again up top so we have more room to work. So I have two fractions, 3/2 minus 2/3, but I cannot subtract them unless they have the same denominator. So I have to look at the denominator and see what is the least common denominator. Now if you remember doing this from last year, we made this little chart until we could find the common denominator. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. I'm going to stop right there, and then I'll do my 3's. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. Oh, but wait, I already see a number that they share. I see a 6 in both columns, so that becomes my least common denominator, 6. So if I put a 6 on the bottom for both of them, because that's the least common denominator, how did I get to 6 from this 2? I had to multiply by 3. So if I multiply the bottom by 3, I have to also multiply the top by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And then on this side, how did I get to 6? I multiplied 3 times 2. So if I multiply the bottom by 2, I have to multiply the top by 2. And 2 times 2 is 4. Now that I have the same denominator, I can just subtract these numbers. So W equals, what is 9 minus 4? 5. And when you add or subtract fractions, the bottom number stays the same. So the answer to this problem is 5 divided by 6. All right, so make sure you copy this down, and I will be right back. Okay, so that is all for today's lesson. Make sure you copy all this in your math journal, and I will make a separate short video to explain how to do today's IXL. It'll be very short. It'll be in the assignment with the IXL, so make sure you watch that. And email me if you have any questions. You guys do a fantastic job of communicating with me. Please keep it up. When you email me, tell me exactly what you're struggling with. That way I know how to better help you, okay? I miss you guys, and I will see you soon. Bye.